What up, everybody? TKO episode 3. We did it. We're here. Man, I missed you guys. I didn't think I was going to be doing an episode today. I got sick 2 days ago. It's unfortunate. I got a little bit of a cold. Started feeling it Friday while I was at work. And we had a pretty busy schedule this week with comedy. We had comedy on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And it was just mics Monday through Thursday, and then Friday we did I hosted Wednesday and Thursday shows, but then Friday we had this cool game we did in Montgomery, Alabama. A bunch of my buddies called Comics Against Humanity. It's where we take the cards from the game, Cards Against Humanity, and we grab a stack and we go up on stage and we just read the card and then try to make a bit about it. So we have no material. It's just all off the cuff based off of what we read off the cards. And I started feeling bad Friday at work, and I had a couple buddies that were going to ride with me from out of town. And I was like, fuck, man, I feel like I need to pull out. Like I can tell I can usually tell a day or two ahead of time if I'm about to be sick. Because like Thursday, I didn't really want to work out too hard. I just did some like functional training, like landmine punch press and neutral grip pull ups and uh, goblet squats. But I did like 3 sets of each, decent reps, not really like pushing myself too hard. And usually that's the first sign if I'm not into a workout that I'm usually into, something's up. And then the day after, I was like, I guess I'll just stretch today because it's Friday, my mobility day. And I like more so than often didn't want to stretch because usually I hate doing it anyway. But something was off. I just felt weird all Friday. And then Friday afternoon, my throat starts getting kind of itchy, feeling a little irritated. And I'm just mentally feeling off. I was like, fuck, I'm definitely sick right now. I think I'm sick. But I didn't want to pull out because I had people that wanted to ride with me. I told them ahead of time. I was like, hey guys, I'm not feeling too good. I think I'm gonna caught because like everyone's been getting sick. I was sick last month. I always get sick like once or twice in the winter. Freaking sucks. But everyone, like a lot of comics have been getting sick in the past few weeks. So I just went ahead and told them, I was like, hey, I'm not feeling too great. I don't think I'm sick right now, but I think I'm gonna be sick tomorrow. I'm still gonna go though. So they were fine with it. They're like, hey, we're still gonna ride with you. So we went down, and it was fucking fun. I was nervous though because I don't like going off the cuff. I usually like doing written out material or stuff that I know. I like to have a game plan when I go up on stage. I don't just want to go up and just make something up because that could go south pretty quick. If you just start stumbling, it's hard to catch a flow. But man, it was fucking awesome. I crushed. Um, I got off. One of my buddies said I probably had the best set of the night, but I wouldn't say. I'd say maybe top 3. But I was nervous. I thought I was just trying to make sure I could get a few laughs in, but I caught a flow. Can't repeat just about anything I said. I can repeat this. The first card I got said fake tits, and I was like, well, I appreciate it when a woman invests in her self worth. And then I can't even tell you what the rest of the set was about. Like, some people are like, I wish we recorded this. And I was like, I couldn't post any of this, dog. I'm not even going to tell you. Um, yeah, let's just not get into that. It was funny, but it was just not something I'd post on Instagram or YouTube. Let's just leave it there. Just material wise. Might it was a little dark. But people liked it, they laughed. That's all that matters, you know? Taking chances, making stuff up off the cuff, riffing with my homies. And people liked it, so successful week. 5 days in a row. We went Monday through Friday. We went Opelika, Alabama, Columbus, Georgia, Auburn, Alabama, Opelika, Alabama, then Montgomery, Alabama. So we got like 4 cities in there. Auburn, Opelika is basically the same thing. So 3 cities. But it was a fun week. Pretty busy. So that's just what I've been up to lately. And as soon as I got home Friday from that show, I went to late, like literally I got home around a little bit before 11. I was going to bed and immediately I was like, hey, I think I'm gonna be sick tomorrow. I immediately crossed the threshold of okay, now I'm sick. I'm feeling pretty shitty. I had to get up and take NyQuil just to be able to get to bed. I usually try to avoid medications. I do like a good decongestant and antihistamine, trying to clear up. That's the reason I didn't think I'd be able to do this podcast today. Is I was like, dude, if I'm stuffy and sound like shit, it's probably not going to be that enjoyable. But hopefully it's not that bad. The mic is a decent distance from me, so I think the volume should be good. And I just did a sauna I did a steam sauna for 30 minutes just now. So I'm feeling pretty clear, good airflow. I didn't do anything yesterday because yesterday was rough. That was the peak of the sickness. I was down with the sickness, as Disturbed would say. Ooh, ah, oh, 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 oh. Rounding deep. No. So I didn't do shit yesterday. I just watched football and UFC. We'll circle back to UFC, talk about those fights. But today I was like, I'm feeling decently better. I was like, you know what? Probably should have just chilled, but I was like, I'm gonna hit the Peloton for 20 minutes and I'm gonna crush a fucking sauna, get the sweat, going, get the heat shock proteins, clear out my sinus and airwaves. Because it does say that sauna and steam sauna. I got one in my gym in my garage. It's a sauna box. It's very affordable. When it comes to an affordable steam sauna, that's the best. I mean, you can get a decent steam sauna for I think it was $400, something like that. It's legit. I like it. I wanted to get a real legit traditional sauna because that's the saunas I like. But my house is on one circuit or something like that. My wife's an electrical engineer. I have to ask her to explain this to me because I've run this by her a million times. So based off of how much voltage or wattage or whatever the fuck my sauna would drop require, um, everything's on one circuit. So everything is basically, if we got a sauna, it'd probably overload it. So if I drop $2,000, $3,000 on a 6 sauna, it gets here and it just does keeps shorting out and not working because our fucking electrical panel, whatever the fuck, can't handle it. That would fucking blow. But this $300 sauna just works with a traditional plug, and I don't know, someday maybe I might try to get an infrared sauna or something that works with just a traditional plug that maybe I've run the specs by my wife on dozens of them. She's like, Scott, I mean, it might not work. You're probably gonna overload our shit and you're just gonna have a sauna that doesn't work. And I was like, but what about this one? What about this one? What about that one? She just keeps on giving me the same answer. I don't know. That's frustrating. But sauna box, steam sauna, pretty clutch. So I enjoyed that. I hadn't been doing it that much because I think during the summer when I do it, I go out for a run almost near midday. So I would go run 6 miles when it's over 90 degrees out. And the weather says that it feels like it's over 100 because of the humidity. And then I'd come back and then I'd get in the freaking sauna box for 20 minutes. And then I'd get out and get in the ice bath to cool down. So it's I get a hard cardio in the heat straight into a fucking 100%, a million percent humidity for 20 minutes in a hot steam sauna, and then right into an ice bath, cold plunge. And then I'd feel kind of fucked up for days after. And I'm like, oh yeah, dude, I think I'm flirting with heat stroke every time I'm doing this. My ability to deal with heat stress the rest of the week is I'm like, damn, I feel kind of weird. It's like, oh yeah, I did kind of like almost kill myself with heat on Sunday. So today was, I think it's because it's cold out. I can do longer in it because I usually only do 20 minutes, but it's so cold outside. I was able to do like over 30, which is not recommended. Uh, but I like flirting with extremes. I felt fine. I can tell when I'm pushing it. Like I can tell when I need to get the fuck out of the steam sauna. During the summer, I was like, all right, this is a problem. I'd cut it like 5 minutes short, and I'd still maybe like slightly overdo it. I was like, if I push myself this last 5 minutes, I'm gonna die in my garage. All right, but I think the sauna box helped today. I'm feeling good. Got the sweat in. Feels good to sweat and clear out the airways. So be good to go for work tomorrow. Then back on the schedule. Hit some strength training. Might try to work in a nighttime cardio session soon to make up for missing today and yesterday. That's what we got to do, man. We just got to adapt. You know, you got to adapt. You're not going to be 100% health all the time. So you need to let your body recover. And then once you feel like you can push it, like today, I was like, you know what, I could hit a Peloton. I could hit a sauna. I'm not going to go for like a fucking 5 mile run, but we're working back up, doing what the body allows while also allowing ourselves to recover, you know. So that's what I've just been up to recently. I had to cancel a part. I was gonna have a bunch of comedian buddies over yesterday. I've been talking about it for weeks. I did it though, like week before Christmas, and I had to cancel it because I got sick. Um, so that sucked. But my wife's out of town. She's in Michigan right now. So like, oh, I got the house to myself. I'll have my buddies over again. And I just spent all day yesterday just sitting with my cats, sick. I did enjoy that though. Every now and then, man, it is good to just have a chill fucking day. And just I enjoy spending time with my cats. So hey, I was cool with it. I ran some Call of Duty, ran some Madden, watched some fucking football, NFL playoffs, watched some UFC. The Ravens have a big football game coming up against the Bills later today. I'm a Ravens fan, for those who don't know. That is my NFL football team. So we got a big one. Hopefully they get the dub. It's gonna be a tough game though. And if they get past that, they got the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. That'd be a rematch from last year's AFC Championship. So it's a hard road ahead of them. Those are probably two of the top three teams before they even get to the Super Bowl. Shout out to the listener. He's basically the top of the TKO nation. Basically, he's holding it down. Dylan Jace. He was like, "Hey, would you be interested in doing a Q&A? Like, would you accept questions to do?" And I was like, "Dude, I didn't even fucking think about that." I was like, "I didn't even think anyone's gonna fucking listen to this, to be honest. Let alone have enough people to do a Q&A." But he submitted some good questions, so I'm gonna fucking address them off the rip right here. All right, number one. Alcohol is rife in this country, and especially in the comedy scene. That's true. Amongst both audience and performers. Oh, I probably should have finished that sentence before saying true. What are your thoughts on alcohol as it relates to your comedic and athletic pursuits? Do you avoid it to any degree, or does it help you in some way? All right, this is a great question. And I wish I could go back in time and tell myself this a year and a half ago when I started comedy. Because the first 9-ish months um, of comedy, I was drinking a lot. Open mic, I mean, I was doing like 4 or 5 sets a week, and every single set, I'd bring a huge Yeti stainless steel thermos filled with ice, and then like 4 to sometimes up to 12, and it'd basically be like 6 to 12 fluid ounces of Woodford Reserve bourbon and 2 to 3 cans of 2 to 3 12-ounce cans of Canada Dry Diet Ginger Ale. That's your boy's go-to drink, is Woodford Reserve and Diet Ginger Ale. And so I would bring a lot of it with me in this traveling thermos of a mixed drink. And I would drive like an hour. I'd drive like an hour to Montgomery with it, a fucking 45-minute drive to Columbus, Georgia with it. I'd even bring it with me to Atlanta. And that would be my pre-workout for the comedy show. And then after fucking the Montgomery and Columbus sets, I would fucking drive home. And like sometimes I would run out of the mixed drink. I'd like try to limit myself. I was like, I'm only gonna do 6 fluid ounces. That's basically 4 mixed drinks. And then I'd drink that before the show and then just drink Bud Lights. Like I'd crack a few Bud Lights and then I'd drive an hour home. So if you're familiar with my drinking games joke, bruh, that was some real life shit. Like it became a point where I was like, by the, I mean, just by the sheer amount that I am driving drunk on a weekly basis, statistically, there is like an X% chance that I'm going to get a DUI. But I've chilled out on that. Um, Basically, what I do now is open mics. I do not drink, especially like if it's anywhere in just the local scene. Uh, any open mic really. If it was in, I did a show. I actually did a show in Birmingham. I didn't drink on that one, but if it's in Montgomery, Columbus, or Auburn, Opelika, it's an open mic. I'm not going to drink. I don't drink. Open mics, you're supposed to be working on something. That should be your main goal. So I've tried to like be more strict about that. I'm like, I need to be working on just how I interact with the crowd, or working on. It's mainly just working on new material. That's what it's for. So I'm trying to like. I'll usually come in with a premise or some premises that I'm trying to like make bits for. So that's what I'm trying to focus on the most when I'm doing open mics. The only time I'll allow myself to drink a little bit is if it's like a show, like uh or if it's a special show, like an out of town show, like when I was in Louisiana with the homies. That the the set I posted on YouTube called "Drunk in Louisiana." I was like uh, 8 to 10 high noons deep when I got up on stage. Um, so if it's a special one, I'll allow myself to drink a little bit, drink a little bit more than usual. But so all last week, Monday through Thursday, was all open mics. So I didn't drink at all until Friday. Friday was weird because it's like I was nervous about not doing material, just getting up and just having to make stuff up off the fly. And I was in just a weird headspace because I started to feel sick, and I was like, I just feel like I just didn't feel funny. Um, the drive down helped though, because I was riffing with my buddies in the truck, so I was got more in a funny mood. But I was just like, I just feel weird, like my body just. I feel like I'm about to be sick. I'm just not in like my peak condition right now. So I got to when I was at the bar, I just got 2 Woodford Reserves and Diet Coke. Um, that's the reason I used to bring the Diet Ginger Ale mix with me, is because bars don't have Diet Ginger Ale, and I prefer ginger ale, but I don't want to get the sugar from regular ginger ale. So if I'm gonna order that mixed drink somewhere, I just get Diet Coke with it, just Woodford Reserve and Diet Coke. But if I'm making it at home, if I'm having like a party, or when I used to like bring that mixed drink with me in a thermos, it's Woodford Reserve and Diet Ginger Ale. That's my that's my favorite go-to. I like the ginger. It settles my stomach. And I'm not really trying to get caffeine from Diet Coke, but I'd rather get a little bit of that than sugar, a sugary ass soda. So I try to avoid it, um, because especially I mean, in this question, he says, as it relates to my comedic and athletic pursuits. When it comes to athletic pursuits, there's no positives for it. It's literally poison. So I'm just trying to balance out how it helps me out. It does help. 2 to 4 drinks is the sweet spot. Um, a lot of people say that. I know Shane Gillis said like 4 Bud Lights is like his peak zone. But I'm drinking usually I prefer to drink like a bourbon. So I think 2 to 4. 4 you're pushing it. 3 is probably the best. Because you want to be lucid. Because that's what I realize when I'm doing these open mics sober is I'm more in the pocket and I I'm just thinking clearer, and that's how you get real experience too. Because I mean, if you get up on stage every single time blackout drunk, it's like, were you even there for the experience? I mean, like maybe you worked on some material, or maybe you're just gonna watch the tape afterwards. But if you're not like mentally present in it, it's like it doesn't even count as a rep. It's like, okay, yeah, dude, you were nervous about it, so you drank yourself into a blackout state. And it doesn't even matter if you did good or bad. Chances are you're gonna do fucking terrible if you're that drunk. The ability to like flow thoughts together in a coherent way for an audience to enjoy becomes extremely difficult when you are the most fucked up person in the room. Maybe there's some drunk dude at the bar that is dying laughing because he's on the same wavelength as you. But chances are nobody's gonna fucking understand what you're saying because you're blackout drunk trying to be funny. So 2 to 4 showcases and big shows only. Okay. That is the only way I can do comedy as much as I do it. Because the first 6 to 9 months, I was like, man, this is just you can't drink this many times a week and like be and also claim that you're like into health and wellness. So I was like, I need to dial that the fuck back. 'Cause most of the reps I get are open mics. So I mean like 10% of them, maybe less, are showcases. I guess that's what it was last week, or one out of 5 last week was. But I haven't been on a showcase. I did one in December, and then I've done one this month. I was supposed to be on one tomorrow, but I don't think I'm gonna feel. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Generally, I'm on like 2 to 3 a month, but December was slow with Christmas and all that. But I'm usually on like 2 to 3 showcases a month where I do like longer sets, 10 to 15, sometimes 20, 25. But usually it's like 10 to 15. But these open mic reps I'm getting, we do 10 minutes too. So, I mean, I can go to an open mic and get either at least 5 to 7 at one, but like most of the ones we have locally, I can do up to 10 minutes. So, we're getting good reps, getting good stage time, being present, learning from the experience. That's important. And then when it comes time for a big show, you've been prepping for it. You've been doing these sober reps, working on material, tightening things up. Treat yourself, man. It's about having fun. I put in the hard work. It is hard work, also grinding to become a better comedian. But I got into this to have fun. Uh, I do all my hard work in the gym, and I have a job. That's where I grind. I enjoy grinding. And then I grind at the open mics with comedy. Then when it comes time to have a showcase, man, people are there to laugh and have fun. So hey, cut loose, dude. Have a couple drinks. Make it a fucking party, dude. Have a good time. You're here to make people laugh. So gotta enjoy it. It is stressful too. Um, Especially when people are buying tickets, big crowd, people bought tickets, are expecting to laugh. I could be out of town, like my set in Louisiana. I've never been to Louisiana before. Great crowd, fucking amazing atmosphere. And I was in a great state because I was having fun. It was a vacation with my friends. Everyone was there for comedy. People were there to enjoy it. And generally, if people buy tickets, because I mean, we're used to doing like open mics at bars where It's free entry. So people might not, a lot of times, some people aren't even there for comedy. They're just there to drink. So you got to try to win them over and make them laugh, which is an interesting challenge sometimes. But preferably, you want people there that are there to have a good time and laugh. So if someone came out of pocket, like they invested in this experience to have fun, I mean, chances are they're going to have fun. So that is one good thing to think about. But you also have that pressure. It's like, damn, they paid for this, man. I better make these motherfuckers laugh. Um, so I try to avoid alcohol until it becomes time, until it's like a showcase or something special, and I can treat myself to a couple drinks. Gotten really, really good at that in the past year or so, limiting myself with alcohol. I took a month off alcohol, over a month in September. I went from like September 6th all the way to like mid October, a little bit after mid October, without any alcohol, and that was good. Um, I also drink. I didn't mention this in my last podcast when we were talking about supplementation and all that. I also drink this Dose. It's called Dose, Dose. It's a supplement that has turmeric, milk thistle, dandelion, vitamin C. I think that's it. But it's a liver support complex. Um, liver is the biggest organ in your body. It's very important. Cleans out and detoxifies. And if you're drinking, it's hard on your liver. So I've just after being in comedy for a year and a half, I was like, you know what, I need to get on that shit, and it works. And because if your liver's stressed out, you'll have like fatigue, and you just won't. It you don't really feel it. Um, you just feel like a slightly lethargic, I would say, when your liver is stressed out. You're like bloated and kind of fatigued. You take care of it, and you're like, oh man, I have like a more balanced energy levels, and just been feeling better overall. So you got to take care of your liver and avoid drinking consecutive days and binge drinking. So if I do drink, it's rare and it's not much. And it's almost always just for comedy. Like I don't just go out on a random night and go to a bar. Um, it's either a party with my friends or I'm doing comedy, doing a showcase. And if I'm hanging out with my friends, um, it's almost always comedy. So I did drink last month when I had a party. I drank a good amount that night, but that I'd never throw parties like that. So treating myself, having a good time. It's been a good year. It was a great year, 2024. So it's fun to celebrate it with my buddies, drink a little bit. All right, so I guess that answers that question. I try to avoid it as much as possible, and then uh, no alcohol and open mics, only a few drinks on showcases, and drink dose or take stuff for liver support. Take care of your liver. Be careful out there. All right, next question was, what is a story/stories of your biggest setbacks in athletics or comedy? How did you overcome those, and what did you learn? Um, in comedy, I wouldn't call that anything setbacks because this is all just a learning experience for me. I've only been doing it for a year and a half, um, so I'm just learning. I'm literally just trying to learn as much as I can. I haven't really had any setbacks or anything. I haven't had like a huge audition or um, I haven't had like a huge opportunity come up that I just like failed at. I've just been showing up, just doing me and learning. I've never had like I mean I've bombed many times. My bomb ratio is pretty low now. I haven't bombed in a minute, but if I do, I mean, and generally it's usually just not a good setup. Like maybe it was there was either like no crowd or the crowd just wasn't expecting comedy. It'd be like a bad, basically like a bad open mic I showed up to. um, Definitely wasn't my material. I'm just gonna blame the crowd every time. No, I've bombed and earned it. Deserved bombs. Um, but that's I'm just learning from it, man. It's like playing. I would say comedy for me so far has just been like playing pickup basketball. So I'm just showing up at courts, you know. Sometimes I'm draining threes, I'm dunking it off the backboard. Sometimes I get dunked on, you know. But I've been winning a lot of games. It's been it's been a pretty good year and a half. Um, I've had some good success in some areas. So just been learning at it. Not a lot of setbacks. I'm sure there will. I mean, there's things I've learned um, just from trial and error. I don't call those setbacks though. I just call it all learning experiences, honestly. Um, as far as athletic setbacks, dislocating my shoulder 2 times in boxing. Those were my last like sanctioned boxing fights. Or my last actual boxing exhibition was when I first dislocated my shoulder, and then a year later I dislocated it, not boxing related. But the first time it came out was from a boxing incident, and that I mean I wouldn't even call it a setback because I needed my body to give out in a way that would force me to stop fighting because I was just obsessed with it for so long that as long as I physically felt like I was able to fight, I there would just be something in the back of my mind like trying to get me to fight. I still deal with that sometimes. Like last year, I thought about coming back because I've never had a legit cage fight in MMA. I've had fights in kickboxing, Muay Thai, boxing. I mean, I've sparred MMA. I just never had a fight in a cage with a full MMA rule set. It was always just striking if I was competing in an exhibition. So that was always something I could just wanted to say. Like, damn, I had a cage fight. I fought in MMA, but I wanted to do that last year, and I was like, no, just I needed my shoulder to dislocate in the middle of a fight to be like, oh shit. There's like a message from God being like, it's time to move on, man. Because I can't. If I'm luckily, I was able to fight my way. Like I was with one arm, I was really fighting well and defending myself, jabs and left hooks. I was actually the guy I was fighting wasn't as skilled as me in my last boxing match, so I was like, it looked like I was going to win even with one arm, but the doctor came over and said I couldn't fight after round one was over. He's like, you can't fight if your shoulder's dislocated. Um, but I remember thinking, I was like, if I was fighting somebody actually like really dangerous, who was like at least my level or better than me, and my shoulder came out, I could have got really fucked up, like really bad. I was potentially in a very vulnerable state, depending on who I was fighting. So if I was in there with somebody nasty, dangerous, powerful, they could have fucked me up because I was down an arm. I couldn't even pick up my arm to defend myself. I was literally just spazzing left jabs, left hooks, moving my head, moving my feet, and my right arm was just dangling by my side. So that was my biggest setback, but that was a lesson I needed to learn. Every setback is a lesson. That's just how I view it. Um, Anything that happened for a reason, and I took something from it. Uh, Anytime something doesn't go your way, that's an opportunity to learn, I would say. So when you experience a setback or a loss or you don't do good at an open mic or something, just pick something up from it. And maybe it wasn't your fault. Maybe you were set up for failure. Uh, like maybe nobody would have done well in the room you were just in. But everything's an experience. You just pick up from it. So that answers the question on biggest setbacks in athletics or comedy. Um, he said, how did you overcome those, and what did you learn from them? Basically, I learned that my time in fighting was over, and I needed to protect my brain and my body and move on. And in comedy, just gathering experience. That's all. I'm a year and a half into this. They say you're not a real comic until you're 10 years in, so I'm just gathering data, gathering experience, trial and error. That's all I'm about right now. Sorry. I just paused to cough. All right. Flip side. What about your biggest accomplishment in those same areas? I don't like talking too much about accomplishments. Like I said in the last episode, I have a hard time giving myself credit for anything cool I did, especially just to talk about things in the past. I just don't want to be that guy that was like, man, I was a bad motherfucker back in the day. Especially when it comes to fighting, it's just that's something with like comedy too. Is like I can't make I can't really make any jokes about my experiences from fighting because like to get on stage and to like lay down the background to people that like I used to box and kickbox just sounds so fucking cringy coming like so I try not to talk about boxing or MMA or anything at all on stage. I do have one joke from early in my career that there's a clip on Instagram about, but it's just a kind of like a silly misdirection. But when it comes to accomplishments in those areas in fighting, I mean, I sparred with some high level professionals, Muay Thai legends. If you look up Manu Natoa, it's spelled Manu, last name Ntoh. He's a Muay Thai legend. I sparred with him on many different occasions when I was 15 years old. He was in the golden era of Muay Thai. He was like one of the few non-Thai champions in like the golden era of that sport. So very respected legend in Muay Thai. Unbelievable striking IQ. Unbelievable. I got to spar with, I mean, professional MMA fighters. Train with them. In actual competition, I boxed against some guys that one guy went on to almost make the Olympics. We had a tight decision between each other. He made it all the way to the Olympic trials. He was fighting down a weight class, and I was fighting up a weight class. And we went to a decision. And my dad said that was the best he's ever seen me box, was against that guy. So it was cool to see him go on and almost make the Olympics. So I always felt like whoever I was fighting against brought out the best in me. So if it was a very high level guy, it would take me up to a level that I wouldn't reach against fighting somebody that was just like some scrub or some just random guy. Like when it became very serious and the skill level is high, I always feel like that brought out the best in me when I was fighting those kind of people. Because that's the thing you learn in sparring is just matching. So it's like if I go in and spar somebody and they're sparring a little hard, I'll like match what they're throwing. And then if I'm sparring like if there's a 13-year-old girl on the fight team, I'll literally just like basically play patty cake with them and just work my defense. And I'm not letting like so I'm just like matching skill levels to where like everyone's getting a fair experience and learning. No one's getting hurt. But when it comes to competition, I always felt like when I fought somebody that was very high level that always brought out the best in me. Um, in kickboxing, I did this. The coolest thing I did was this like world championship fight tournament in Orlando, Florida, when I was 16, and that was the coolest experience I would say because it was people from all over the world. It was a world championship kickboxing tournament for a belt. And there was teams there from like Great Britain. There was like I saw a guy there from fucking Ukraine. Like there's people from like all over the fucking world that flew here for this. Um, and I ended up fighting against the guy who won the world championship the year before. The reigning champion was my first fight in that tournament. And people were telling me afterwards, like, dude, that was the most entertaining fight I think of this entire tournament because we came out swinging, and I had him hurt. I almost put him out. It was a back and forth. We just like kept on rocking each other. I had him hurt early though. I hurt him first, and I almost got him out of there. But then it just became a back and forth, and I ended up losing. But it was a great fight. We talked afterwards. He's like, man, you got good power, and he went on to fight. Dana White watched him fight Sage Northcutt, and he lost to Sage Northcutt, and Sage got a UFC contract out of it. So he was like on the brink of making it to the UFC, fought in front of Dana White, and I had a really great fight with that guy. He was a reigning world champion, and before that fight, though, I was so nervous because that was a really weird experience for me because the year before at that same tournament, there was a girl from my hometown in Atlanta, and she got kicked in the head, and they like carried her out on a stretcher, and she died. Uh, and then the tournament just proceeded as usual. And it just seemed so weird to me because I was never worried about death. I was like, if I get fucked up, I lose. So what? I'll fight another day. And then this was the first time I was at a tournament where a girl from my hometown got head kicked and died the year before, and it just was a weird thing for me to wrap my head around. I uh I like was worried like it just kind of I was on a really tough weight cut as well. So I was just like in a mentally weird spot, and I was trying to pull out of the fight before like the day of the fight. I had like a little mental break, and this is normal. Fighting is a very stressful thing. There's a video on YouTube of Mike Tyson crying, and his trainer comes over and consoles him before he goes out there and fights somebody. He's like, Mike, you fought tougher guys than this in the gym. This is normal. Fighting is a very stressful and emotional sport, okay? Because there is no you're walking into a battle where you know you're going to accept pain, and you don't know, especially in the amateurs, you don't know who you're about to fight. Like I didn't know I never knew I was fighting the reigning champion at the time when I was kickboxing, and I didn't know I was boxing a guy that would go on to almost make the Olympics when I fought him. So it's like it's a random draw. Like you might fight the next Mike Tyson and not know it, or you might just fight some random guy who's. I always got a bad draw too. I was like, maybe I'll get a good matchup. It'd be a guy that I could easily squeeze a win out, maybe stop him. And nope, every time it was a bad motherfucker, like a bad motherfucker. But I like that though, because that's a real fight. I want a challenge. I want somebody that's better than me. I want to see if I can rise to the occasion to do something great and beat a guy who's on paper should wipe the floor with me. That's an opportunity to prove something to myself. So I was always glad that I got the toughest fights. I wouldn't change a damn thing. I don't care if I lost. I would rather lose a fight to somebody great than knock out somebody that shouldn't have even been in the ring with me to begin with. That does nothing for me. I'm not here to boost my ego, dude. I'm here for a fucking war. I'm here to go to war. All right, so that's my biggest accomplishments was just the battles, the wars I was in. Um, as a 15, 16-year-old kid, I got a plethora of experience. Great experience. That's my accomplishment. No world titles, no belts, just good scraps. And that's what I came for. I don't need no fucking decorations or trophies to hang around my house. I don't give a fuck about that shit. That shit was 15, 16 years ago. I don't need that shit. I came to fight when I was there. I don't need no damn trophies. Uh all right, so biggest accomplishments in those areas. All right, that was fighting. Comedy. This is an interesting one to think about. I guess my biggest accomplishment is just to be respected by my peers in my scene. Uh, there's a lot of like people that I think are, I mean, my closest friends in comedy, like people I love that I think are great comedians. I think they're better comedians than me, and some of them really think I'm funny, and some of them I think I'm like one of the best in the scene, which I don't. But I appreciate that they think that. I the only thing I can give myself as an accomplishment in comedy is that I'm a decent joke writer. I'll say that. That's all I'm gonna give myself as an accomplishment in comedy is I'm a decent joke writer. I guess when it comes to like numerical success, they say you shouldn't post anything in your first year of comedy, and I've only been doing this a year and a half, but I posted like a handful of jokes. I think I have like 11, maybe 11 jokes on my Instagram. And I've gotten like millions of views. I think across all platforms I have like over 2 million views on jokes I've posted. So that's pretty fucking wild. And to see that, I mean, one of the jokes, the one that has the most views, it has like one and a quarter million views. It's like 1.25 right now, I think. It's got like 80,000 likes on it and 130,000 shares, which is the coolest thing to me. I like seeing I think seeing the analytics on shares is like the coolest part because it's like 130,000 times somebody saw this and was like, "Yo, I got to I got to show this to somebody." That to me is the most like when it comes to like sharing content, that's the coolest measure to me is like people wanting to show this to somebody. It's cool that people like it. Uh, Likes are great, comments are cool, but shares to me are cool because it's like they saw this, they liked it so much that they were like, I got to show people this shit. And that's how things spread. Like to have over 2 million views just organically off of people fucking with my shit and sharing it is crazy. Because I've only been doing this a year and a half. I'm not really a comedian. I'm an open micer who's learning what to do. And then all the jokes I posted, like the most successful ones, I was like 6 months into comedy when it was recorded. The most successful one, I was 9 months in when I did that set and it was recorded. So these were jokes. I mean, that went viral in my first year of comedy. When most comedians would say don't post stuff because generally most people in their first year of comedy, their jokes suck. Or if you're posting long forms, you shouldn't post a long form set. It's something I'm still getting better at. Like the Drunk in Louisiana, that was my best long form set, or not long form, but it was a 12-minute set. Because that's something that 'cause when I was my first year or so, I was kind of like There wasn't a lot of transitions. I was just kind of just jumping topics like crazy, crazy jumps in topics. So one joke might be a good clip that might look well, but if you saw the full 5 minutes, you'd be like, this is fucking insane. Like there was nothing tying these jokes together. I'm just like throwing jokes at you like fucking darts at a dartboard. But Drunk in Louisiana, I would say would be my best representation of my ability to tie things together in a set that's over 10 minutes. Because a lot of these like the Laughing Skull mics that I've posted, a lot of those jokes from in Atlanta is a 4 minute hard cutoff. So I don't really have a lot of time to do any intro or tie things together. Like I'm not really doing like I've only got 4 minutes, so I gotta rip heat as much as I can. I don't really care if they're tied together or if they flow together seamlessly. I don't have time to worry about that. Um, so I guess that would be my biggest analytical accomplishment would be having over 2 million views. To have millions of people see my shit and fuck with it off of just and to have it spread off of just organic growth is pretty cool. But I don't really I'm not a content creator, okay? Like I said, I've barely posted. There's people that post like w- multiple things a week. I'm not trying to get tied up in all that social media shit. It's cool that my shit's done well in there, but I'm the only thing I'm concerned about is live performance and like being a better stand-up comedian. 'Cause it's like I could bomb in a set, but then have one joke at the end that's like, holy crap, that clip has potential to go viral. Who gives a fuck if that joke goes viral? You just had a terrible set. You might have saved it a little bit with that good joke, but if the entire set sucked dick, who gives a fuck how many likes or shares that gets? It's about doing well for the people that are there, you know? It's what live comedy is about. And being a comedian, you have to entertain crowds of people in person. It doesn't matter how big you are online because there's a lot of like social media influencers that get into comedy after they have like huge followings, and a lot of them fucking suck at comedy. Uh, which I also feel kind of bad for them because they didn't have a chance to like work in obscurity. Like nobody knew who the fuck I was, so I was able to bomb, and like I didn't have pressure on me. I didn't have like hundreds of thousands or millions of people watching me when I started. I didn't have a fan base. I was just a random guy who was starting comedy. So I didn't have that kind of pressure on me. So I do kind of feel I have sympathy for the influencers that get into comedy. And just as long as they respect the art form, because like there's guys like Trevor Wallace who's respected, he went about it the right way. He grinded in comedy and started as a social media influencer guy. He's like the best representation of how you should do that, in my opinion. And like totally respects the art form, is respected by his peers in stand up comedy. Because there's some people that just come over as influencers, they suck at comedy, and then they act like they're hot shit just because their sketches and online presence is cool. And it's like, hey, we don't give a fuck about that. We care about can you hold it down on stage in front of a crowd. That's the most important thing in stand up comedy. It's being a good comic. Um, so my biggest accomplishments in fighting, just experience, uh, getting to go to war with dangerous people. And my biggest accomplishment from that is comfort and security. Like I can walk around genuinely, I'm not scared of anyone. I am totally comfortable with my ability to defend myself. I'm a large man. I'm 6'1", 250, and I move well. I move like a middleweight. Uh, I'm fast, I'm strong, and I have a good fight IQ. So I can defend myself against almost I mean, a significant amount of the population. I can deal with that. When it comes to like, I mean, there's probably some guys out there that are more experienced than me in fighting, and they would beat my ass. But that's few and far between. Uh, so the comfort and security of just being able to walk around and not worry about my ability to defend myself or my wife or my friends or family if they're with me, I'm I'm secure. I can hold down whatever block I'm on as long as they don't have a fucking knife or gun. If it's hand to hand combat, we're good. Nothing to worry about. And then biggest accomplishment in comedy is just the validation of being a decent joke writer. Uh, Having a lot of people fuck with my shit and the respect of my peers and my buddies. That's about it. Last question. 5 5-minute rounds with any UFC champ in their prime for 100,000. Who are you choosing? Damn, 100K. Uh, I'll be honest. Specific. That's a tight constraint. UFC champ. I guess I'd go with Sean Strickland. Maybe I don't fucking know. It's gonna suck. To be honest, for 100K, I probably wouldn't do it for 100K. If you said really to do just a UFC fight with a UFC fighter, it'd have to be like 500 bands. For 500,000, I'm down to fight just about anybody. I'm not saying I'm gonna win. Uh, More than likely I get my ass whooped. But for 500 bands, that's kind of like my number. It doesn't really matter if it's a UFC champ or in their prime or what the rounds and time limits are. It's like if you just offered me 500,000, I don't care who it is. It's like I'll fight just about anybody for 500 bands. I can't say uh like dealer's choice. You pick the UFC fighter. I'll fight for $500. Not, I mean, $500,000. Not saying I would win. Uh, there might be a few I got a puncher's chance on. Not many. Okay. Chances are your boy's gonna lose that fight. I might be able to lose with some dignity. I might be able to hold my own, get some respect, or I might get fucked up. I don't know. But I've been in way too many wars for free to turn down. I don't know, because I just have a decent job right now, so I'm just thinking about it compared to like what I work for based on my salary right now, and not taking brain damage. Uh, but for 500 bands, hey, call them up. I'll sign the dotted line. We can do it. Any UFC champ for 100 bands. The cut to 185 would be tough, but I guess I'll just take Strickland. I'm gonna get pieced the fuck up. I don't know. Maybe that's a bad one. I don't fucking know. Who was a champ at 205? Maybe maybe Chuck Liddell. Maybe Chuck Liddell. Or if Tito Ortiz was a champ. Can't remember if Tito Ortiz was a light heavyweight champ. That's who I'd pick. Tito Ortiz. I think he was. I need to Google that right now. I'm pretty sure he was. Yeah, no, he definitely was. For 100 bands against a former champ, Tito Ortiz all day. I'm Googling it right now to confirm he was. Tito Ortiz, champ. Was he a champ? Yes, he was a former UFC light heavyweight champ. All right, Tito Ortiz it is. I'll do that for 100 bands. Hey, I'll do that fight right now, honestly. 100 bands. I'll fight Tito tomorrow with a cold right now. That's light work. No, I'm kidding. He I think I could strike with him, honestly. I'm not lying. I think I could fuck him up striking. He's a better wrestler and grappler than me. But we start standing up, bro. I think I clean Tito Ortiz up. He's also older than me and retired, so. All right, enough about beating up old guys. I do think it would be cool to fight Brendan Schaub. Honestly, I would be cool just to like have a technical spar with him, like not trying to fuck each other up, but to do like at the comedy festival Skankfest every year, they do like some sort of like battle fights and shit. Uh, that'd be cool to like do like a spar with him at that because he's a former top 10 UFC heavyweight that's in the comedy sphere. You know, been on Rogan a bunch of times and stuff like that. I just think that'd be funny, just to be like, holy shit, I just fought Brendan Schaub. Okay, so that concludes the questions. Avoid alcohol, uh, but treat yourself every now and then. Take dose, milk thistle, dandelion, turmeric, vitamin C. That will protect you in your comedic and athletic pursuits. We went over the setbacks, just learning experiences in fighting and comedy, accomplishments, you know, just the experiences of going to war and fighting and quality battles against high level fighters. That's my favorite thing that I got from fighting. And just the respect of my peers in comedy, my buddies, and I guess the people fucking with the shit that I've posted online. I guess the organic growth via shares and millions of views. That's pretty cool. And then 5 minute rounds with any UFC champ in their prime for 100 bands. Tito Ortiz. We could set that up, honestly. I'm down. That's how I answered all the questions. I wanted to go over a few things to clear up from my last pod where I talked about data collection and health. I talked about sleep trackers and like fitness trackers as far as like tracking calories burned and heart rate. And I said that I used to do those and I don't really do them anymore, which is true. But when I was talking about data collection and health, I should have specified that I still track my workouts. I don't track my calories burned or heart rate during them, uh, just because I kind of know what I'm doing in those fields. I'm not training, not train like if I was fighting in the UFC, I would be tracking those statistics. But I know how good I'm sleeping. I know kind of what cardio zones I'm working in, and I know kind of what calories I'm burning. So I'm not really concerned with tracking down the information on that. But I do track my workouts as far as like strength training. I track you know, what workouts I'm doing, how many sets and reps I'm doing, what weight. I get analytics on that throughout the year. And I also track my miles that I run, my total time, elevation gain. So I'm basically tracking the performance on data and health. I'm not tracking the wellness markers because I know where I'm at. I'm tracking the numbers when it comes to performance. So like how fast I'm running miles, how many miles I ran, and how long it took me. And then lifts. how many reps I'm getting on what, PRs throughout the year, stuff like that. So if you're getting into it, it's also a lot to keep up with. So I'm really just concerned with my performance metrics. Um, but hey, if your goal is also dropping weight, I'm more concerned about performance stuff. Um, but I guess if your goal is to drop weight, then it'd probably be good for you to track calories and heart rate and stuff like that. Um, 'Cause that would help. Just depends on your goal setting. Um, and then when we talked about supplementation, I just like tea based caffeine sources more than coffee. It's like green tea. That's what green tea extract is in, like Celsius. Amino Energy is another great one I like. I didn't mention last time, so you can get some essential aminos in there. And I'm a big fan of delayed caffeine consumption in the morning. So I wake up for at least an hour and a half to 2 hours, no caffeine. Give your body time to naturally clear out the adenosine in your system. Adenosine builds up in your system. The more it builds up, the more tired you feel. So when you wake up in the morning, you have that in your system, your body naturally clears it out. But if you drink caffeine, the caffeine molecule fits into the same receptors as adenosine. So if the caffeine fits into the receptor, it's blocking the adenosine. It just keeps the adenosine in your system. It's not getting cleared out because you rushed caffeine in there after you woke up. So you just have like adenosine floating. And then as the caffeine burns off, that's how you can get like an afternoon crash. As if there's like a buildup in adenosine. So I think it's better just to let yourself naturally wake up a little bit before you just like jolt yourself with 200 milligrams of caffeine. It's kind of like letting a diesel engine warm up a little bit before you go 0 to 60 on it. Uh, and just I think it's important to just track some things as far as bioavailability, like your ability to actually absorb the whatever you're trying to get in your system, like turmeric. The turmeric that comes in that dose supplement I was talking about is good because it's liposomal, I think. Turmeric, pretty sure. I don't know. It's more bioavailable, so it's easier for your body to absorb. And stuff like whey protein isolate, I think your body absorbs that way better than like the Orgain soy protein that's like vegan and dairy free. Might be easier. Might be Whey protein isolate isn't that hard to digest, and I'm someone that has a hard time with dairy, so I think whey protein isolate is good, not too hard on the stomach. But maybe that Orgain stuff is easier on your stomach. You might be like, "Oh, I can digest this better," but you might not be actually getting the protein out of it. So, it just depends on what you're going for. And I'm a big fan of Wim Hof breathing. It's basically a cyclical exercise, breathing exercise where you hyperoxygenate your system with like 30 rapid fire deep breaths, and then there's three like breath holds. For the one I do is like 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, and then 1.5 minutes. So it's like a total of 4 minutes of holding your breath in within an 11-minute follow along video. It's on YouTube. You can look it up. Wim Hof breathing exercise on YouTube. There's an 11-minute follow along. Peaceful music like takes you through the breathing pattern. So you just like hyperoxygenate and then exhale and then hold your breath. And it's good. A lot of people overlook breathing exercises. Um, so I'm a big fan of that. A lot of people overlook neck exercises. I'm a big fan of the iron neck. It's one of the few neck exercises I can do without causing damage. It's like there's stuff you can do like neck bridges, like Mike Tyson used to do. And Mike Tyson also had to have neck surgeries because of it. So like it's a little expensive, the iron neck, but the ability to train your neck safely it's worth it to me. A lot of people don't train neck. A lot of people don't train grip directly. You get grip through, I mean, just benching and doing a pull up and deadlifting, stuff that requires grip. But uh, I like doing dead hangs. That's a great grip exercises because you basically go till failure until like your hands you just hang from a bar like you're about to start doing a pull up. It's just your arms are fully extended, hanging from a pull up bar, and then you just try to hold yourself there as long as you can. And I think the longest I've ever been able to do is maybe like 90 seconds. But usually I just try to do like a 1 minute set at the end of my strength training workouts. It's good for shoulder health, decompression, and grip strength. Very good for grip strength because your hands just start to peel off of the bar as your grip begins to fail. So grip strength, neck strength, breathing exercises, and I'm gonna go on like a functional training kick, like stuff I did last week, like landmine punch presses. That's a great one for uh my functional training. So I'm trying to punch. So a landmine punch press is like a great strength training exercise because I'm literally in a punching stance, pushing weight at like a 45-degree angle. And I like ballistic work, like slamming medicine balls. There's one where it's like a medicine ball punch throw. It's where you like take a step in. You're in like a puncher stance facing like a heavy bag or a wall, and you've got like you're holding a medicine ball and like your back in your backhand, like basically up to like your chest and shoulder, and then you just like take a step and just like push it forward, like basically like you're throwing a haymaker right hand, and just the ability to launch a medicine ball in that functional way of like throwing a punch really translates it well to punching power. So what I like about functional training is you're training based off of your goals. Like that's something that will directly translate into what you're doing. So if you're training for a certain sport, you should do sports related training, or stuff that mimics actions you do in that sport. The best my footwork ever was is I was doing like FC Barcelona footwork speed drills. Uh, so you can use stuff from other sports to get better at your sport. So I was like, damn, I felt like I had nasty footwork at one point, and I was like, yeah, because I'm doing footwork that like professional soccer players do. Most people aren't doing that shit. Uh, I'm gonna get into like stability training. That's something I bounce back and forth between is like unilateral training like one leg at a time or one arm at a time. So doing like single leg RDLs with kettlebells. That stuff is great when it comes to kickboxing and just sports in general. Just training one leg or one arm at a time, unilateral training is so good for you because you're also training balance. Like doing a single leg RDL, you're like you're constantly bouncing yourself while you're going through the movement. Um, so I'm definitely gonna jump back in on unilateral. I went pretty heavy with just compound lifts like trap bar deadlift, bench press, and I was like, I think it's time to get back into the functional unilateral stability training. So looking forward to that once I'm in better health this week. And I also wanted just to point out what the show TKO meant. Uh, most of you probably know this, but it stands for technical knockout. It's uh, it's when a fight gets stopped because somebody's getting beat up to a point where they can't defend themselves. And I used to think it was uh, because when I first started, my first fight was a TKO finish. All my finishes in my entire career were TKO finishes. But earlier on, I was like, oh, man, it felt like it didn't count to me because I was like, I want to knock somebody out cold with like one shot. But then the more I learned about fighting, a TKO is actually the most brutal way to lose because you might get caught with one shot and go down and you just can't get up. And it's like, but you only took like one hard shot. That's that's not nearly as bad as getting just methodically walked down and just beaten into a point to where like you physically can't defend. Like you're not knocked unconscious, but you're just absorbing so much damage and punishment that a ref has to stop the fight. So it really is the most brutal way to win. It's the most brutal way, in my opinion, to lose a fight. Unless you're just getting on the verge of getting TKO'd the entire fight and then you get put out by one shot. I guess that would be the worst. Uh, but I just always had a misconception about TKOs when I was younger, and they're actually brutal. It's a methodical, technical way of destroying. Like you were so superior than him that you didn't put him out cold, but you beat the shit out of him to a point where they had to fucking stop the fight. Uh, I'm excited to be doing these, man. I'm glad that people are listening to them and people like them. I'm just interested in trying it. The main goal about it is, I think it is going to make me better at stand up. It's my ability just to talk about things, you know, uh, to formulate thoughts in a cohesive manner that people understand. So it's just practice talking into a mic and talking about things that I enjoy. You know, maybe giving some advice to people that people would appreciate, or just you know talking about stuff that maybe people get interested in some of the things I like because they hear me talk about it, or they just get a better understanding of who I am. I don't know. Uh, I want to go hit a sensory deprivation tank soon. If you're not familiar, it's like a pitch black room that's soundproof, and there's a bed of water in it that's filled with like 10,000 pounds of Epsom salt. So you basically like float on the surface, and it's just like that's what it is, sensory deprivation. So it's pitch black, silent, and you're floating. It feels like you're basically just like floating in space. And I think it is a good way to like reset your mind. And I think it really is good for creativity. It's like a hyperbolic time chamber for your mind. It's kind of what the sauna box was today. It's like I was feeling kind of bad, and then I went in and sweated it out for 30 minutes and came out like fucking Trunks and Vegeta. Just a fucking new man, better than I was. Fresh out the hyperbolic time chamber. It's a Dragon Ball Z reference for you guys. Um, but yeah, send in more questions if you guys got more questions. Uh, be glad to answer them. Talk more about what you guys want to talk about, or just get my opinion on it. You know, goal setting. I think goal setting is important. It's hard for me to like settle down onto something. Like I have a lot of goals, and I don't want to put time constraints on them because I might be able to achieve all of them at different points. But I don't want to say like I have goals for 2025 because maybe a few of them I might get next year. And I'm not putting a time I don't put any time constraints on myself. I'll get some. I know I'm going to get mine. I'll get some this year and I'll get some next year. I think I have the ability to accomplish anything I put my mind to. Uh, I think it is good to actually write it down and have like a specific goal because there's one that's it's like I could say I want to get better at comedy, and that's a very vague. That's not something that you can statistically track. but I could say I want to get booked on more festivals. I got on one last year, uh, so maybe I'll get on one or two this year. You know, the festival I got on last year was more of like a show. They called it a festival, but it was a comedy showcase that was booked at this festival, so that doesn't really count as a festival. So I've yet to be on a festival. So that is one of my goals of this year, but I might not get it. Hey, I'm a year and a half into comedy. If you're doing a festival, they're trying to book like people that are really into it seriously. They've been doing it a while. They have credits. They have headshots. It's hard for me to go schedule a headshot because I'm not a fucking model and I don't like taking pictures. I do have like some friends that are into photography that have taken pictures of me doing stand up that look great. I mean, they look like professional pictures, but for some reason, people want headshots. It's like I could have a professional picture of me doing comedy that looks like a headshot, but you don't want me to be holding a microphone in this picture for some reason. It's like I'm not trying to get booked on television, dude. It's like I do stand up. So it's like if you have a headshot quality picture, but I just so happen to be doing stand up at that moment and I have a microphone in my hand. They're like, "No. No, we want a headshot of you just standing with a backdrop smiling at the camera." It's like, "Why? I'm doing this for a comedy festival where I do stand up. Here's a great picture of me doing stand up." Doesn't make sense to me. I get it if you're an actor, maybe. Headshots are great, but I don't get why people are so strict about that in comedy. It's also hard getting booked on a festival when you haven't done other festivals or have credits. So it's like to get credits, you need to give them credits. One festival I applied to is this is the first festival that they're doing. It's going to be like an annual thing, but this is the first year that they're doing it. So I'm like, all right, well, maybe that'll be a lower barrier to entry. I do have like some credits for just like decent names I've featured for or done shows with, but that's it. Like I can't say I've done any festivals until I do a festival. But if I do, but to apply to a festival, they want to know what other festivals I've done. It's like, I mean, what came first, the chicken or the egg, guys? So I got to lie about some credits. I got to lie about doing festivals so I can get a festival, so that I can use that festival to get other festivals. You know, it's a long game. But I'm not really trying to make it into comedy. I do this for fun. Genuinely, I have a career that takes care of me. That's important. Stability, job. I'm good. Not worried about bills. Got an amazing job. Takes care of me well. This is just a hobby. This is just do it for fun. And I'm not same thing with my training. I train because I've done it for 20 years. It makes me feel good. It's a part of who I am. I think it's important, but I'm not training to fight in the UFC or anything. I'm just taking care of myself and want to get better. And with comedy, it's like that's like my main social aspect of my life. There was a long time where I didn't train. I mean, I didn't do comedy. I didn't have a social aspect of my life because I don't just go to bars to go to bars. The only reason I'd go to a bar is if there's stand up at that bar. So it's a way to get me out of the house. I have to be working on something. So like to go hang out with my comedy buddies, we have to be doing like I do enjoy just we've hung out just a few times. Like I had them over to my house last month just to hang out. Like we didn't do comedy or anything. But 99.9% of the time I see them, we're out in public at a comedy show. Uh, so the way for me to like build friendships and meet people is there has to be like something I'm working on. Like I'm not going to a bar just to be social. I'm going to a bar because I'm working on stand up. And I just so happen to meet you and we become friends. Um, so I just I always have to be working on something. It's either my training, my comedy, or just my job. I think day jobs are good. That's something that people need to move past. Okay. Everyone says, like, especially in comedy or comedy and fighting, people that aren't big names yet, they're like, oh, yeah, I still have a day job. And they like look down, they hate their day job and stuff like that. Um, Maybe because some of them don't take it seriously, and the only thing they're taking serious is like they're putting all their chips in that they're going to make it in comedy or fighting. So they're all in on it, and I respect that. But I think it is good to also that same that same seriousness that you take with those two passions. You should also want to take it. You should also want to have a good job. Um, it's hard to get. I mean, I'm not saying like I'm not trying to like Elliot or what's that Andy Elliott guy. I'm not trying to like be one of those fucking business goal setters. That's like, if you're not making 100K a month, you need to fucking grind. I mean, just having just a decent job that you enjoy is should be your goal. Okay, and then if you blow up in comedy or fighting, congratulations, you can move on. But a day job is a good thing. Okay, it's stability. You're not going to be as stressed out about comedy or fighting if you're trying to make it in those endeavors if you have a great job. I'm I know for a fact I'm probably never going to compete in fighting again. That's a fact. If I do, somebody call me and stop me. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but something's wrong if I'm fighting. Uh Comedy, I'm here for cool experiences, so if I get offered stuff, if I can do it, like I've been offered some things that involve traveling that I'm just like, "Ah, I can't do it. I got a job that comes first." Um, but there's things that I'm here for just cool experiences. So, uh, if a cool experience, if I get to travel, like going to Louisiana with my buddies, that was like a vacation, and we got to do. I've never been to Louisiana before. We got to do great comedy shows there. That's what I'm into. If I get some festivals out of it, that's cool. If I get to feature for some really big names, that's sick. Okay, I'm just trying to do like cool stuff, but it's not my main priority. I want to be a better comedian, but I'm not going to be doing this professionally. Uh, just doing it for fun, just something to work on, and social aspect of my life. I've met a lot of people, made a lot of friends, so it's been good for me. Uh, but I would encourage people that are trying to make it in these fields not to look down on day jobs. They should take their day jobs serious. They should take their professional career around their passions serious and want to get better at those as well. In case they don't make it in these hobbies, as I would call them. Um, it's like, hey, if you don't make it in comedy or you don't make it in fighting, guess what? You've also been working hard at this job. You've moved your way up the ladder while you've also been focusing on the stuff you really care about. So it doesn't work out. Guess what? Hey, you're going to be okay. Day jobs are a good thing, man. You're contributing to society. Everyone wants to be a fucking superstar now. It's like, hey, man, it's cool just to have a normal job, just to contribute to the world. You know what's not cool? Being a fucking loser that doesn't contribute anything, who's broke, who doesn't make any money, who hates their now they have to get a job and they hate their job. It's like, hey man, if you're making money, you can take care of your family. You have the financial ability to do stuff like comedy or like you can chase your passions and hobbies because you have a financial security of a day job. Hey man, you're a contributing member of society. People should You should never look down on somebody for a job that they have. If they give it their best, they pay their bills, they support their family, that's all that's mad respect to them. Don't look down on anybody. It's like, hey, you might be like, "Psh, I'm out here chasing my dream of comedy. This dude's fucking a janitor. He doesn't even fucking he's not even he doesn't even want to be a superstar." It's like, dude, who gives a fuck? That janitor probably makes more money than you as a full-time stand-up comedian. And he takes care of his family. And he actually contributes into some sort of system, you know? Don't take yourself too seriously, superstar. Be an adult, all right? Take care of your shit. Because there's not a lot of money in comedy. There's not a lot of money in fighting. So I would recommend you do them for fun and be careful and be an adult about it, you know? Think about the future. What else? What else should we talk about, guys? Uh, I hope everyone makes it though. Especially the people I care about and the people I like in fighting in comedy. I hope they make it because I want to see people win. I do. I want people to be safe and to have backup plans, but I want to see everybody win, man. I do. So I think a day job is good. You shouldn't look down on people for having day jobs. I think day jobs are cool. People shouldn't treat them with like any form of disrespect. It's a normal thing to have a job as an adult. But for the people out there grinding and they want to make it, full support. I want to see you all make it, especially the people I know that I care about, and they're kind of going all in on the dream. Love you guys. Wish the best for you. And I hope to be in the crowd one day cheering you on in Madison Square Garden. Or maybe let me open up for you. I could do a tight five. Just let me do a tight five at MSG, bro. Just kidding. All right. That's an hour and a half. Hopefully the audio sounds good. Sorry, I was sick. Didn't think I was going to get an episode in. But if you listen to it, if you made it this far, holy shit, you're the man or woman. I did see that like 2.7% of my listeners are females. Didn't expect that. So shout out to my shawties. Uh, and then shout out all the bros, the target demographic, the homies, the bros, the dogs. No, that's Mad Shane's. What I guess TKO Nation is what I called them earlier. TKO Nation, you've been great. I love you. I'll see you next Sunday for episode 4. Y'all have a great night.